G'day guys, how are you going? Well, if you're a beginner camper or you just want an awning set up for the side of your four drive and it's not going to break the bank, this video could give you some ideas. So today I'm going to show you the lightweight telescopic awning bracket that I've had made up, and now I've got my 3 metre wide by 3.6 metre tarp hanging off it. Let's check it out. So, why did I go down this road? Well, for starters, I wanted a setup that was lightweight, and yep, I've certainly achieved that. 2, I wanted an awning setup that was all under one roof. Yep, I've certainly achieved that. And then I didn't want to have to go and do like I've done in the past, where I've had to set up 2 awnings to get almost the same coverage. Yep, I've certainly achieved that. Because in the past, I've had to set up a 2.4 by 2.4 rollout awning. And then for the extra coverage, I've then had to attach an extension sheet onto that to give me that extra room to put my swag and camp gear underneath it. So now I have a 3 metre wide awning, out 3.6 from the patrol, all under one roof, one setup, and it's great. So I removed the full length roof rack that I had before and replaced it with a lightweight solution. So now I've got 2 roof bars, the slide out custom made telescopic awning bracket, total weight around 20 kg. So I've dropped about 30 kilos from the what setup I had before, and in my view, I've gained a much better awning setup for when I get out there camping. You know, I was just finding that I wasn't using that full length roof rack that I had up on the roof of my patrol before, and I haven't for quite some time, and I wasn't going to be driving around, with that full length roof rack sitting up on the roof of my patrol, other than the fact that it had that rollout awning mounted on the side of it, and that was really its only purpose for the trips and the things that I was doing on it. I don't know, for me it doesn't make sense, so this for me was the way to go. And I can hear people already saying, you're going to need a full-length roof rack, where you're going to pull your firewood and, your camp gear and all that sort of stuff. Well, no, you don't. That's why I took it off. And then at the end of the day, you look at the amount of four drives that get around these days that have got their full-length roof rack on top of them, but they're filled with rooftop tents. So, those sort of people get by without having roof storage, put in their firewood somewhere. So I can certainly get by without it as well. As far as carrying firewood, well, I'll just readjust things, instead of cutting my firewood up into smaller lengths, I'll just cut them into, 2.5 metre lengths and set them up on top of the roof bars, get into camp, and then cut them up into the lengths, that I'm going to need to burn them in my campfires. I suppose with this setup too, it doesn't cover, the back barn doors of my patrol here, but over the 16 years I've now had my patrol, and I've camped in all sorts of weather. I don't think I've ever thought to myself, gee, I wish I had an awning set up coming over the back there to cover the back barn doors to get gear in and out due to weather. And just some of the advantages with a setup like this is, 1, it's lighter, it's cheaper, and it gives me more undercover space than what I had before. And it's super easy to take on and off before and after camp trips. So roof bars, the whole lot will come off, hang it up in my shed at home, and then put it back on for the next trip. But the big one is, there's no unnecessary weight and unused space when I do go on a camp trip, now on the roof and patrol. Only one way with that, it's win-win. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Catch you on the next one. Hooroo.